Here are 10 facts about economic growth. In the not so distant past, there was a very long period of almost no economic growth. Average incomes in England between the year 1270 and 1650 were £1,051 when measured in today's prices. This number seems pretty much constant for hundreds of years when compared to the rapid increase in incomes over the last 2 centuries. The average person in the UK today earns more in 2 weeks than the average person in 1650 earned in an entire year. The average income in 1650 was around £1,000, while today this is over £30,000. Economic growth is highly correlated with urbanisation. In the vast majority of countries with average incomes over $30,000, more than 60% of the population lives in cities. An extreme example of this is Singapore, which has a GDP per capita of around $65,000 and 100% of its population living in cities. The average person in the world is 4.4 times richer than they were in the year 1950. This statistic uses GDP per capita, which is adjusted for both inflation over time and price differences between countries. The global economy has grown 13 times larger since 1950. This means that even though the world population has tripled in this time, the average individual person is still over 4 times better off. One of the most impressive examples of economic growth since 1950 is Taiwan. With average incomes of just $1,400 in 1950, this has since grown to over $42,000. This is a 30-fold increase in just 70 years. While most countries have seen incomes increase dramatically in the last 70 years, some countries have actually seen the average person get worse off. These countries with consistently negative economic growth include Niger, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Central African Republic. The country with the highest economic growth in 2020 was Guyana, and by quite some distance. Guyana saw growth of over 26% in 2020, while the next highest was South Sudan, with only a little over 4%. The country with the lowest economic growth in 2020 was Libya. This wasn't growth at all, in fact, with Libya's GDP having a massive decrease of minus 66.65% from its 2019 level. This means the country produced around a third of what it produced the previous year. In 2020, the global economy shrunk by over 4% compared to the previous year. The COVID pandemic obviously played a key role in this. This is the first time global economic growth has been negative since 2009. That will conclude this video. Please do leave a like if you found it interesting. Check out my channel page to see that all of my fact videos have been made into YouTube Shorts, and subscribe to add some econ to your subscription feed.